But this is one of those double standards because you can't say the same thing to me. But, we all like to pretend that guys don't have the N-word nipples.
What are you talking about, Charity?
Oh, yeah. But yeah, so I noticed him, and he said that he was only going to be here for a couple of days. And who had the idea to go to the museum?
Probably me, because one of the things I really wanted to see in Busan was the Van Gogh Museum.
Okay, so I don't. I'm usually forward and extroverted. My friends would think I'm lying, but it's true. I offered to go with him with another friend of mine, and we met, and then there's just everything just fell into place, and now here we are doing a podcast.
Famous podcasters.
Yeah. So
if any step would have went differently, like if that morning I hadn't have got arrested and fled from the cops, I never would have left the country and gotten to Korea, and we never would have met.
Like, just a smidgen more lazy, then I would have gone to salsa class. And then this morning, I would probably be sleeping.
Oh, so this is a sad story, actually.
Yeah, it's a sad story.
Cautionary tale. Learn from my mistake. Don't go to salsa.
But yeah, it's a lot of those things. Like, I love chance meetings. Like, you wouldn't know this person except that you did something differently in your day, and now this person is like an important part of your life.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And any tiny little change along the way, like not just that day, but things that happened the week before, the month before, the year before, like tiny inconsequential decisions.
Exactly, that like they just snowballed and avalanche. So I also have another friend who's super important in my life. And I met him during a dance class at university. And it was like a 1 day a week class. It was like my last quarter of college. And I just like combined all these sports classes. I took like 7 sports classes. And I saw a dance class. I was like, I really wanted to take that during my whole college career. But I never did. And then I went there and I met one of my best friends now at this class. And we just connected. And it was just like, if I hadn't decided to sign up for that class finally at that point in time, I never would have met him. And that's just so weird to me because, like, people become so important and then you don't realize that you hadn't taken certain steps, you never would have known them.
Yeah.
But that could also be the opposite. What if you're living a life right now without a certain important person in your life because you didn't take a certain step? So you're living in an alternate universe where that person doesn't know you and you don't know them, but in an alternate universe, your version of yourself is being like, what would it be like if I had never met this person? And that's your life right now.
And what about from the opposite perspective? What about, so you decided to go to dance class that one day that I was in Korea and we became best of friends and we're making this awesome podcast. But what if you hadn't gone to that dance class and you went to something else, you went on a different course and ended up like curing cancer or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
And here I am wasting your time with a podcast.
Man, I don't know if you're worth it. ThugLife. I kind of feel bad about meeting you now.
Seriously, you could have ended world hunger.
Yeah.
You might be the president of the United States.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry.
At least I got a podcast, so.
At least a little bit of consolation.
Yeah. So, origin stories.
Or do you think that destiny causes things to happen whether you want to or not? Like in that show Lost where Desmond's like, whatever I do, I can't keep you from dying, Charlie. And that's a Scottish accent. I don't know if you can tell.
It was some accent.
But
it was
Desmond was he could see the future, and he kept seeing that Charlie was going to die in different ways, and he kept doing things to keep that from happening. But destiny would not be dissuaded. Like, it just kept finding another way until eventually Charlie died. And so what if it's like that like there's certain things in your life that have to happen, and whether it would have been at that dance class or later in jail or in Japan or something like that, we would have met so we could make this important podcast.
I don't know about destiny. I think there are like several predetermined paths that you could take, but I think destiny is too dependent on the fact that humans are stable creatures when we are not, because we are just random. It also depends on our moods and emotions, and so destiny might be like, okay, they're gonna do this today, but then you wake up and you're feeling like really crappy, and then you're like, I'm not gonna do anything today. So I don't know, but maybe that was preordained also. So I don't know. It's a tough question for 9:30 in the morning. So
My friend from Canada, one time, we were on a road trip in Texas to go to our friend's wedding, and he conveyed this concept to me, and it almost exploded my mind once I saw what he was saying. So imagine everything is cause and effect. You can see in simple machines, for example, if you push down on one side of the lever, the other side goes up. And you can add more variables into that machine to make the situation much more complex and complicated. But if you can understand all the different variables that are happening in a situation, you can always predict the outcome of what's going to happen. Like you see those giant machines where you see a ball rolling down and it hits a domino and the domino goes and then it makes something swing and then it makes something jump. You know, like the OK Go videos. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So in the same way, our human brain is like a giant organic machine with lots of neurotransmitters and chemicals and everything like that. And everything that's ever happened to us and that is currently happening to us is variables in this machine that's about to make a decision on what to do. So right now, you're about to say something, and you saying this is the culmination of everything that's happened to you during your entire life, including how you're feeling now, how hungry you are when you woke up, how you slept that night, and you say,
Hi.
if somebody had a computer powerful enough to calculate everything that's ever happened to you, to see the chemical makeup of your brain, they could have predicted you were going to say hi, and that I was going to say this in return, and you were going to say this. So it's not that it's preordained, but it's that everything that is going to happen is going to happen, and it can't happen any other way because we're just creatures of cause and effect, even in our brains with the chemicals.
Yeah, I don't know because, like, I don't know if you could come up to one certain answer. I think you come up with a score of answers and be able to choose amongst those.
Your free will isn't anything that's determined by, like, chemicals in your brain or anything like that. There's something separate from that you're saying is your essence or your soul, and you still have the decision to make. I can see that too.
I lost my train of thought because I was playing Word with Friends and I tried to play the word amongst, and I was like, why is that not accepting?
Is it not a word?
And I just said amongst, and that's the word that I was thinking of. So, all right, nice. Slight distraction.
Your vocabulary is quite good, by the way. We're chatting, and then you'll say something. I have to look it up on Google real quick, and then I respond just because I'm so fast at Googling that I can pretend that I knew what the word meant.
What? Thanks. I didn't realize, but yeah, play me in Words with Friends, and I'll kick your butt.
Okay.
But yeah, that should be preordained also. Also, I would like to say one more origin story. I would like to give a shout out to one of my dear friends. Her name is Jennifer, and she has a blog called Jenny is Free. JENNYIS.
Oh yeah, that one's really good.
FREE. Yeah, jennyisfree.com. And our origin story, I met her in Korea. I think playing Ultimate. And then one day I decided to go watch Jurassic World for the second time. I was like, does anybody want to come watch it with me? And Jen answered. And we went and we watched the movie, and it was great. We had a fun time. And she made a lot of funny clips about the movie, and it was great. And now she's like got her own blog. Well, she's had a blog for a long time, but I became aware of it. And she's getting a book out next week.
Whoa.
And her birthday's next week. And it's cool because it's like this origin story. And then I listened to her on a different podcast today. And we both started with Ultimate Frisbee. And now we both have podcasts. And she listens to this podcast. And I listen to that one. If she's ever in another one, I'm going to listen to that. But yeah, origin story.
We should bring her on as a guest.
Yeah. It would be cool. I don't think you could handle all our clips, though. So you might be like a side character.
Challenge accepted. To become a side character. Yeah. I'm getting tired of talking. Please carry your own weight.
But yeah, check out her blog, jennyisfree.com. And she'll give you links to her book that's coming out next week and everything. Cool girl. Cool lady.
Cool.
Cool.
No doubt. Cool.
Legit.
Cool. No doubt. Speaking of origin stories, part of the way that I am was caused by my dad's crazy sense of humor. And when we were a kid, we would always go out on Christmas morning, first thing before we opened presents or anything, and my dad would be like, look, and there'd be there'd be reindeer poop on our porch. And then he'd be like, look, and he'd point up at the roof, and there'd be reindeer poop on the roof too. And like it was on the roof, and then it fell onto the porch. He's like, Santa Claus was here last night. And as kids, stupid kids that will believe anything their parents say, we're like, whoa, reindeers exist. I mean, the evidence is right here, poop on our roof and poop on our porch. And then one year when I was like 6. I remember going out a week before Christmas, and there was a brown paper bag on our porch. And just being curious, I opened it up, and it was horse manure that my dad had gone out with a shovel and got from the pasture. And my brain started to make the connections, and I shut it down. It's like, I'm not ready for the truth. Not thinking about this anymore. Just went in the house.
But that's such dedication from your dad, though. Man.
To lying to your kids, yeah.
That's an awesome father. He who puts poop on their porch and on their roof to prove to their kids that Santa Claus's reindeer was there? That's like,
he's awesome.
Your dad gets 3 gold stars, which is like the maximum amount of gold stars you get in a Mario Kart game.
Yeah, 3 gold stars does sound bad. Like out of 10, he only got a 30%. But he really convinced me, though, because I remember I was a kid and I had a dream, and it was so real that I saw Santa Claus in our living room unpacking things from his pack. And then I went back and went to sleep. And I woke up and I told my mom and dad, I was like, Mom, Dad, I saw Santa last night. I saw him. He was in the living room. And my mom and dad were like, maybe, yeah. But, I mean, they had convinced me. I was to the point of being delusional, where this dream that I had, I thought it was real. And so I was convinced that I saw Santa. And so this is dangerous, that you can, as a parent, you can brainwash your kids to think anything. And this is why.
Yeah, but, they're so young. They're so malleable. It just creates a little more magic in the world because, they're already off creating their own fantasy worlds and everything. So this is a way for you to have that connection to them. But I just can't get over how awesome your dad was. Also,
he's very cool.
You do know that reindeer are actual animals, right?
So he wasn't lying all of this time. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that reindeers were actual animals because they had been so wrapped up in the Christmas stories and with Santa Claus. And when I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real, I assumed that reindeer, of course, weren't real. So when I did find out they were real, I was like, what? What else have I discarded as lies that has actually been the truth? But yeah, when you accidentally said rainbow right before you said reindeer poop, I thought that the reindeer poop that your dad put on the porch and on the roof was rainbow colored.
It was. I think he spray painted it. Also, another thing that he would do is he would take us to see Christmas lights. We'd all get in the car, and the first Christmas lights that we would see as we were driving through Oklahoma was, we'd say, ooh. Then the next one we'd see, ah. The next one, oh. So we wouldn't necessarily be talking. We'd be driving down the rural roads, and every time we'd see lights, ooh,
oh.
Ah, oh.
You'd be driving down the what?
Rural roads.
Rural roads.
It's difficult to say. We lived on Rural Route 1. In Oklahoma, it's a different world than South Korea. South Korea, you have like 27,000 people living in one building. Our nearest neighbors were like a kilometer away.
Wow.
I didn't even learn what a kilometer was until I was 18 and left Oklahoma.
Yeah, we didn't use miles. We used time to say how far away something was.
Some Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know if the viewers know, but I grew up in Arkansas, and there it would just say, "Oh, it takes 15 minutes away, or it's an hour."
Did you
away.
grow up on a farm?
What?
Did you grow up on a farm?
No, I grew up in a house.
Oh. So I grew up on a farm, and my grandpa had all kinds of awesome words. So obviously, you probably had y'all.
Yes.
Ain't.
Yep.
Fixin' to.
Yep.
Might neart.
Nope.
This is my grandpa's word. It's a combination of mighty near to have, a contraction between like 8 different words.
Right.
And it means almost. For example, that hog might near to bit my arm off.
Oh, okay. I have to pause and think about it for a bit.
Or I used to could speak with a Scottish accent, but now I can't.
Let's see. What was another word that we used? My mom used to say when we would do something, and then my mom would warn us not to do it again, and we wouldn't believe her. I don't know why, because we were kids. But she was like, okay, you want to do it again? If you don't believe fat meat greasy till you squeeze it, go ahead and squeeze it. And it's just like, what? But I grew up hearing that, and then I tried to use it in college, and people just looked at me like, what?
Are you having a stroke?
Yeah.
Country folks are funny.
Yeah,
you talked about how you would tell